Electricast.
Welcome to the next edition of Missing the Point. I am Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan with my guy, Money Mike Marcangelo. How you doing tonight, brother?
Doing good, man. It's a big week in the dog days of summer. Like, I didn't expect to have this much fucking news to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's every year, NBA free agency, regardless of this one free agent or two free agents that are, quote unquote, big names. There's always a lot of moving parts. We just didn't realize that a lot of moving parts were going to be, tied to, the NBA champions. So, we'll get into that, certainly. But, obviously, we're about a week off from the draft as we record the show on a Tuesday night. So we'll get into the Celtics draft a little bit. We'll talk about the first few days of free agency because there's been some really wild signings, some wild trades. So, we'll cover all of that. So let's start at home, obviously. So the draft happened last Wednesday and Thursday, so it's the first time we did a two-night event. Before I get into what we picked, did you like the two-night format, like how they've been doing with the NFL, or did you think they should keep it the way it's been?
Yeah, I think that they're trying obviously to replicate what the NFL does, and they're learning the hard way that it's, the NFL they were 2 days, right? They were Saturday and Sunday forever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now, the league got to as big as it is. But I don't know. I think if they have, it's going to take a little bit longer for them to build, I think, the audience that they want. And also, this just might be me personally, I find the lottery more intriguing than most of the drafts, right? Because it doesn't always happen. It couldn't always be crazy, but there is that added element of something big could actually happen in the lottery that will blow your mind. The draft kind of went the way that everyone thought it was going to go, right? I mean, and we do need to talk about your boy getting drafted. You need that platform, and I'm about to give it to you. But I thought it was good. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a spectacle though, right? Is it a spectacle for you?
No, so that's I mean, and I'm glad that that's the route you went with it. No, that's the thing. And people had this issue with the NBA Finals as well too. So I wanna be be clear. It wasn't just because the Celtics won and they beat Dallas. It was just like you don't even have the logo in the middle of the floor anymore. It felt like a regular season, game or games is what people were, hollering about on Twitter. Some people even said it on their platforms, on their respective shows. But as far as the draft goes, to be fair, we're interested in the 165th pick in the NFL draft. People will say, like I said, I will sit there and watch all 3 days, and I'm just and I'm as invested in pick 1 as I am in pick 216. And that's the beauty of what the NFL has been able to build. That's the pageantry behind the draft that they've been able to build and cultivate for their fan base. They make it a whole experience for people to come out there, when those events happen. So once again, it should be an event when you're coming to Madison Square Garden to get drafted. It should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I get it. I get it that the Knicks haven't won in a million years, but that had nothing to do with it. Like, once again, you're in the world's most famous arena. Excuse me, that should always be a draw, and there should always be a type of energy in there, for when those people are getting drafted. Part of it, I think, this year was because they didn't know a lot of the talent. We're in the state now that we know more women's players than we do men, unless you're a hardcore fan of both games, and that's okay, right? Like we've seen the growth of the women's game, and we talked about it on this show. Other shows have beat that down to the ground, but it's a lot of things that go into it. But like I said, the pageantry of it all has to be a lot better. So
I would love, no, they'll never do this, but I would love if on draft night, the top or the top 5 picks, they had their lottery ball fall an hour before the pick. So then, like, you have to turn in. It's not like 2 weeks before and you figure out who you're going to be drafting. It's like, now we don't know who's going to be drafting 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're going to have to find that out tonight. And then, like, that's when it happens. So I think that will add some intrigue. Or, like, if they do the in-season tournament and they want to make some actual stakes to it, you can either say that the winner of that tournament gets a few extra ping pong balls in the lottery.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yep, no, right, and that's where, yeah, I think we talked about that before, like,
Yeah.
when we did the show, earlier this season, we had said, maybe, getting number one pick, but I think and once again, there was no James Worthy in this draft, so I want to be clear. Once again, there could be, but in this moment, the
Right.
name wise, there was no James Worthy. Could you imagine, like I said, if like I said there was that type of player, the Lakers had won the in tournament, and then they got that type of player to end out LeBron James' career, like fans would have had the gymnastics that people would have been doing online would have been unbelievable. You thought Bronny was an issue. Oh baby, it would have been it would have been a problem. Like say if like Alex Sarr had went to LA, and once again Alex Sarr may be a fine player, but he's projected not. I don't know what he's projected to be NBA wise, but I can only imagine if he was like the guy coming out, they'd be like, "Oh my God, like how did you let LeBron James get Alex Sarr? Like that's just like it's not fair, to still allow for Triple H. Me and my buddy Mark, we're just gonna go home. We're not gonna watch anymore. Like, and that's just like that's
I do
exactly
love
yeah.
your whiny white boy impersonation.
Yeah,
That's just
it's ridiculous. So but that's what it would have been. But yeah, that is a nice little added intrigue if they were able to do it that way. But
one thing that you mentioned before we get to who the Celtics picked, because you mentioned
yep.
it, how the courts for the finals look like a regular season game.
Mm-hmm.
They should do a version of what they do for the in-season tournament for the finals. Like literally the out of bounds should just be like NBA finals, like logo.
Yep.
So that you know where the fuck you are and what you're watching.
Yep.
I wasn't a fan of all of the court designs for the in-season tournament, but the one thing I'll admit is when you watched it, you realized you were watching something different. It wasn't just a regular season game. So they got to figure that out.
Yeah, and once again, that's on Adam Silver, right? It's just like, bro, like he's been around a long time, so like I don't understand why they did go away from him. Once again, it's there. Like you've seen the blueprint for it. Once again,
Right.
you were with Celtics Lakers. You were there for, Pistons Lakers even in 2004. Like that symbol is once again it is synonymous with the NBA Finals. Like how do you not have at least that on the court? Once again, they do great with the celebration aspect of it. Like I thought it was awesome to see how they get that stuff together. But it's just like, how do you not have that on the floor? And once again, I was there when I was setting up. It's not like they were rushed to set things up. They had plenty of time because the Celtics took care of business, and so did Dallas. They had plenty of time to get stuff out there and have media day, and they had it. So I just think next year, regardless of who's in the finals, like just make sure that you at least make that difference, because once again, a lot of fans are right on that. It was like the pageantry of the NBA Finals is no longer the same. The storylines aren't as good. The reporting has become lazy. Having 20 people on a post-game and pre-game show is ridiculous. No, I'm serious.
You're setting it all on fire right now.
Yeah, it is. It's insane. And I think that that's something that DK brought up before, and he's not wrong. It's like having a million people on a pregame and postgame show doesn't make any sense, especially when half of them can't articulate a point that they, what if they were just talking in a barbershop, or so they just sitting there and just looking on camera, they're just smiling, looking crazy. So but yeah, there's a lot of they need to do. So hopefully they sit down with the committee and then they make things make those differences or make those changes. Excuse me, for next year.
Yep, 100% agree.
So let's get into it. So Celtics, they draft Baylor Schierman from not Gonzaga, that's the other guy. He went to Creighton. He got him out in the first round at number 30.
Was he South Dakota State before he went to Creighton?
He might have been. I didn't.
Yeah, I think he transferred. Yeah,
went, but yeah, it just seems to be a requirement if you get drafted out of Creighton that you are a shooter. So whether it's him, whether it was Doug McDermott, whether it was Kyle Korver back in the day, it's just like if you go there and you get drafted, you better be able to snipe it. And I like what I saw on tape. Once again, didn't follow too much Big East basketball because Big East is not what it once was when we were kids. Like it's not the same, obviously. But I was encouraged by his tape. I don't love his athleticism, but once again, he can shoot it, and I'm excited to see how they use him. And then at pick 54, they got Anton Watson out of Gonzaga. So he was more of a big guy. I think averaged 15-8 or 14-7. Last year. But just your initial thoughts on those picks, and just how do you see them being additions to the team, not just for next year, but in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Schierman pick is the most Celtics pick that we've seen, and that fits this role and fits where this team's going, right? I think he's a guy that can be an oversized guard or a competent sized forward, but his shooting is what got him there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's someone that is going to have a great shooting form. I think he might be a little bit of a liability defensively, but if he can at least develop into just an average defender, a lot like I don't want to call Peyton Pritchard an average defender, but he's gotten better over the last 3 years. So if you see that kind of improvement from him and you keep his shooting, then this is a team that no matter who's on the court, whether it's the bench or the starting five, you have to be wary of their ability to shoot threes and to beat you by the three. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't love the Anton Watson pick. I would have preferred if they went with a big, because I think that's their biggest need still. But in an NBA where every single year the best teams are putting up more and more points and are averaging better percentages from the three, it makes sense. It makes sense for the players that they went with.
Yeah. No, I get that. I thought he was close to the 6'10", meaning Watson, but then I think when
he's 6'8", dude.
Yeah, 6'8", yeah. So he's a more fluid version of Tillman. Like I said, we'll get into that because something about him today as well. So okay, fine. Both players are 23, right? So I think I think that gave some cause for concern in some people's mind. But I'm like, remember, we're not looking for projects at this moment. Once again, Jordan Walsh last year was a project because whatever they had the time, he was 19 years old. He's going to be 20, or he is 20 now. So fine. Once again, that you had that there. They didn't bring back J.D. Davison. I'm happy about that, because I think, to me, he can be good eventually. It was like Neesmith. It never was going to happen here. I mean, that's okay. So hopefully some other team sees his worth, and he's able to grow there. But to our picks this year, I just think that they want everybody, or not everybody, but at least have as many ball handlers as possible. Schierman can put it on the floor. Watson can put it on the floor. Watson is not a great 3-point shooter, yet, but to sit there and learn from Al, and truth be told, Cornette was actually a decent 3-point shooter before he got to Boston. It wasn't his role here, so he didn't have to really shoot him when he got here. But it's hard to believe that he's been here 3 years already. So that's crazy.
I know.
Time flies. But I think, yeah. So from a fit standpoint, like I said, they went with what they think was going to be good additions to the bottom half of the roster. And I can't get mad at that. I did want the kid from Duke, Filipowski. I thought that would make more sense because of what's going on with KP. But maybe they figure something out during the summer league, or they sign somebody. Because I think they have they have like 1 or 2 more roster spots to fill. So, but overall, I'm happy with it. So we'll see how it unfolds in summer league in a few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, again, if there wasn't a big available that they thought could project to be a starter, a year or two, or even just like a minute filler right now, fine. But I think at like all Celtics fans, looking at this team, their biggest area of opportunity to improve, and the area that they need the most, the quickest, is big. Al's great. I love Al. He's getting older, though.
Right.
And you don't preserve him or get the minutes that you get from him in the playoffs by having him play 40 minutes for 30 regular season games, which is what he's probably going to have to do with Porzingis not scheduled to come back until late November, early December.
Yeah, right.
So, but I have a couple of players if I know that you're gonna ask me, I just know you. You're gonna ask me like, how do I want this roster spot? How do I want this roster to be filled out? I have my opinions on some free agents, and I think if they do just one of what I'm asking, we should be okay.
Okay. So
Do you want to hear?
who are they?
All right, so
you can't give us the tease, don't give us the whole
this
thing.
isn't a big splash, but he's been here before and he worked well, and I think you can get him for pretty cheap. Is Mike Muscala.
Okay.
You get him, he's 6'10". He's not a rim defender or protector,
Right.
but he does play similar ball to KP and to Al. He can shoot.
Yeah.
He's not a liability defensively, and you could put him out there with the starting four and give Al rest, and that he's gonna contribute. He's not going to hold anybody back.
Right.
So
exactly.
I like that because I think you can get him on the cheap. And again, his best year in the last 7 years was with us. So why not do that?
Yeah, I thought she was going. It was either going to be him. Or I thought you might have said bring back Tice, because that's been gathering some traction in recent days. Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Once again, as a fourth or fifth guy. Once again, I know they brought back Cater, they brought back Cornette, they brought back Tillman, so they have that intact from what they did last year. But yeah, I'd be totally fine with that. I thought that he had a few games where he had like 18 to 20 points. And once again, you definitely don't need that from him. But
No.
you can see someone that can hit a couple of threes when the defense is broken down and Tatum and Brown are kicking it out to you in the corner or up the top of the key. And once again, he proved that, in his short stint here. He's done it really everywhere he's been. OKC, he did in Atlanta. If I'm not mistaken, he's one of the few Ivy League players to ever play in the NBA. He went to Buchanan during his college days. So yeah, why not? Why not? To me, I know Brad loves Tice, even though he's let him go a couple of times, but Tice is loved here in Boston. I know Marcus Morris is still someone who's a free agent as well, so I don't know if that's something. I know him and Tatum are real tight. I don't know how he would be with JB and the others are still here, but I know him and Tatum are real tight. So that is an option. And once again, I didn't think that he still had it in him, because when he did in Game 5 against us in the finals, scoring 20-25, I was like, where was this? Well, I won't say where was this. He did have those moments in Boston, but I was like, whoa, we haven't seen that in a little while. So to me, he's another potential option if that was the case. I seen wild takes saying about DeRozan signing here on the vet minimum. I was like, the NBA would not allow that.
That would be fucking wild.
Yeah, doubt the day. Like the NBA, you thought Chris Paul got blocked. There is no way. No chance. That's what she like. No way. It's not happening. It's not happening.
No, that's not gonna happen.
And it's like, once again, but honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I would say cue the Duck Boys right now. If we got that notification right now while we were on the air saying da-da-da, da-da-da, the Celtics have signed DeMar DeRozan to a 1-year deal. I'm like, hey guys, let's get ready to get that back to back. Alexa play Drake back to back. It's coming. So
I mean, that would be unbelievable. And for every reason that you just listed, that's why the NBA, as you said, would not allow that. My flashier pick, but it doesn't make sense schematically, is Nick Claxton from Brooklyn. He's younger. He's a traditional big man. He's just under 7 feet tall. He shoots terribly from three, but he's a very efficient shooter. He's like a healthy Robert Williams. Right,
yeah,
like he shoots 75% from the field because they're all from within 8 feet, and I think that could be something to complement the team, especially if KP is going to be out for a while and now, but he will require more money than we're probably willing to give.
Right, and I mean, I think with him, if they could have done that. Well, Brooklyn wasn't going to move him last year, but I think if they did that last year with getting rid of Time Lord, I think that would have been the time. I don't, like I said, money wise, I just don't think that they can do that, like you said. like I said, once again, some guys you find end up ring chasing. He's not old enough to be ring chasing yet. Like he's not in his
No,
30s, I think. So
remember, he's 25, which also I was like, you know what? Even if we don't
yeah,
get him this time, when that KP contract is expiring,
yeah,
wherever he lands, you trade KP and a pick for this kid. If he's still
yeah,
averaging
yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
if he's still averaging his 13 points a night, and now you just instantly got younger again.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. You know, I said we'll see who ends up being. But yeah, those I said two solid options. I think there was the guy I didn't DK brought this guy before. He's in Charlotte. I think his name is Nick Richards. I don't know what his salary looks like, but that's another guy who I think is kind of like a similar. He's similar to Nick Claxton as well in that Rob Williams mode. I don't know if Charlotte's in fire sale mode. They should be because I said once again they haven't done anything really since maybe since we were
Mostly
like
Bogues.
yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. On a side note, shout out to Kemba Walker, who's one of the greatest players in chocolate history. Obviously, he played up here in Boston for a couple of years on a 12-year career, 4-time All-Star. Wish it could have worked out differently for you here because you had the great attitude, you had the mentality to play here. Your body failed you. But you had some good moments here. You were an All-Star here. One hell of a career. But to your points about those two guys, yeah, hopefully they add something like that here, or maybe some of the Summer League roster they see that jumps out to them and Bragg is a two-way deal to them. So we'll see how it unfolds.
All right,
So,
Ray. Before we get into everything else, I'm gonna hijack the show from you. Earlier, obviously, we're still talking about the draft. A lot of speculation, a lot of conjecture has gone into it. The Los Angeles Lakers selected LeBron James' son, Bronny James, in the second round. Like almost everyone predicted was going to happen. There was after the pick, a report that came out that said that basically the management of Bronny made it clear to every NBA team that if they picked him, he would not play for them. He would go play somewhere else. And if they did that they would also deter other players from signing with them. You and I talked about this, off the show in a text, and you had something to say that I don't think many people are talking about. This obviously is nepotism, for sure.
Yep.
But why don't you give your take on how you look at the situation and how you think everyone else is judging the situation, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, I think for me, like you said, it is nepotism for sure. Like I don't want to make it seem like it's not anything that has like of course it is, right? And it's not new. It's something that we've seen, before. But I think what I mentioned to you when we spoke, I thought people were annoyed. One, because it was LeBron, and anything that he does, good or bad, is always going to warrant a discussion or some type of debate, whether it's good or bad. And then two, I thought that, and once again, this is not popular even amongst some Black people. So, G, if you're hearing this, I know that you're going to disagree with what I say. You and I had our own conversation. So, but this is just my stance on it. I just felt like we're not used to seeing Black people in favor or in higher roles use nepotism for their favor. So that's what I personally thought. Once again, I have no issue with being educated on why that could be wrong. To me, I feel like a lot of stuff hasn't been really made about basketball in this regard. Once again, if you think that he shouldn't have got a shot because he can't really play or can't shoot, then by all means, I'm fine with that because that's a fair assessment, at least at this moment. But I've seen more takes being mad about LeBron getting him the spot than just speaking about his overall talent or lack thereof. So that's kind of where I was coming from with that. It's amazing how much has come from this. Once again, I thought for sure he was going to 17, and I think people should have had more of a beef had he went 17 than he went 55. Like going 55. Like once again, he's getting the notoriety because of who we were raised by. Like,
right.
Duh.
But also he wouldn't have gone in the second round if he wasn't LeBron James' son.
Right. And no, and I think once again, that's also another fair assessment. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think about till now we're being on air. I'm actually annoyed with Rich Paul because although you think he probably thought in his mind that he was doing the best by, Bronny, and the goal was to get drafted regardless, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. We wanted to see what happened with, we loved seeing the highlights of Ken Griffey play with his father, right? Whole different scenario, because obviously Ken Griffey Jr. was the number one pick in the minor leagues, and then was able to come up there 2 years later. Cool, we get that. Whole different scenario, but it's the first time it happened since then, right? Obviously. I just think it was wild that you go out there and go on this tour saying that this is not going to happen. You go full Eli Manning and say he's not going to play here. He's not going to do this. Not going to do that. And it's just like, bro, like you legit cut off. And I do think there's a couple of other teams that would at least have thought about him in the second round, but they chose not to because they
were told not to.
Yeah, they didn't. That's the thing too. People don't like that Rich Paul has that type of pull either. They don't. Okay, it's the same thing with he's like the Black Scott Boris. Like that's where so put that in your pipe and smoke it. I think that he's the Black Scott Boris. So people don't like that he's demonstrative and about what he wants for his clients. And once again, they're not used to that, and they don't like the fact that he's become a prominent figure. Once again, I can't wait for the comments to come out on this and say that I'm completely wrong. And once again, I would love to hear a fair and objective comment. But like I said, I just feel like one is because it's Bron, and then two, I said we're just not used to Black nepotism at that level. Once again, has it happened? Absolutely, it's happened in businesses. It's happened in it happened and Black people that listen to this, y'all know it happens in churches. So that's a whole other, I'm a son of a pastor, so I get it. That's a whole nother topic for another day. So we're not going to get into that, but it happens, y'all. So let's take a deep breath. Once again, at the end of the day, he went number 55 and he has a decent career.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this sounds like so stupid, but the racial aspect of it never really entered my mind. I thought people were making such a big.
It usually does it for you, but
Yeah, sorry. I mean,
no. Which is good. Good stuff. Yeah, something good. That's those again. Whole another show for another day.
For better or for worse, I don't really think about. I don't really think about it that way. I just think that this obviously this is nepotism, but it's the first of its kind in an era that is that lives off of clips and social media, right? Like we have never seen before in our lifetime a player, not a general manager, not a coach, not an owner, dictate the draft board of other NBA teams to make sure that his pick, his son, gets to come play with him, right? That's why I was like, the comp would have been like Marino saying to the Dolphins, I'm not playing unless you draft my son as wide receiver. Like that's the comp. And I think because of just how spectacular like how in your face it is, and not in a bad way. It's just like everyone knew this was going to happen, and then, I mean, the agent even went a step further to ensure that it did. But they ain't even trying to hide it, right? Which is I almost commend it. But to be completely honest, if he was a guy that at USC was averaging 9 points a game, 12 points a game, there'd be less of an outrage. I think that there are always those idiots out there that just hate LeBron because he's LeBron. But Bronny had 2.5 points per game at USC this season? Right. What made the most sense for him is to go to a smaller school and to dominate. And then he would have been picked in the first round in 2 years from now. Yeah. However, the other flip side of that is you have a chance to play with your dad. If you're LeBron, you have a chance to play with your son. Right. And everyone's like, well, they're putting a lot of pressure on him. I agree with that. He might not be that good. We don't know about that yet either. I'll tell you this, though. He will be the most successful, the quickest with LeBron on the court with him. Because LeBron won't let him fail. He will give him more looks. He's going to make him earn it. He's going to make him earn it. But I guarantee he's going to you may see LeBron play a little bit more minutes with Bronny as the season goes on, just to help him out. And there's really nothing wrong with that at all. I mean,
no, it's not. But once again, if for those are the parents, right? There's not a parent that listens to this or a parent that's in this world, regardless of where you're at, Europe, USA, whatever. Every parent wants their child to succeed. Well, every good parent, let me put that out there.
Yeah.
Every good parent wants to see their child succeed. Period. So what it's only different because you're seeing it happen and play out in front of you. Now, to your point that you made about averaging a little bit more, there's another guy on his team that transfers from UNC. His name was Caleb Love. Caleb Love averaged 16 points this season. Caleb Williams. Caleb Love went undrafted. Was basically told to come back next year because he wasn't going to get drafted. Now, as a UNC guy, because he was at UNC first, I thought that was crazy because I've seen Caleb Love dominate some of the current players that was in this draft now go crazy. So once again, if you're making the basketball argument, I got you. It's bigger than that, and y'all know it. That's what's killing. It's like this was strictly a business move, and y'all know that. Y'all know it was a business move. And once again, we may not see. Well, I mean, unless the other brother comes up in a couple of years, and everybody is so horny to talk about how Bryce, that's the one. Bryce is going to be Bryce is going to be better than Bronny. Okay, let's see how that plays out. Let's see. Because he is bigger. He's 6'5". He got bronze height. So he got bronze height. Bronny's more athletic than Bryce right now, anyways.
And he can jump, dude. Like
he can jump. He can jump. And then but Bryce, out of the three of them, by far is the best shooter. Like and we're gonna see that soon. If you watch the video, I think it was the other day, they was out there working out in New York. Bryce is a knockdown shooter. So that's his game is gonna look a lot different than both of them when he gets to that level. So, and I don't know. I just think people think that it's being handed to him, but I'm like, a lot of y'all that are complaining about it have had stuff handed to you your whole lives. You're just mad that like, once again, that is being put out there in public. Him being a 55th pick does nothing for anybody. Like, it doesn't ruin a play. It doesn't ruin anyone's life. I think, listen, it has been overblown, and once again, it's been overblown because of who he is. That plain and simple. But once again, I get the Caleb Love argument. You're not wrong for those that felt that way. So
Mm-hmm.
I know that was you and many others. But once again, I wish y'all kept it in basketball. But y'all, a lot of y'all.
The other argument that I would make about this that is basketball related is that for a team that needs a lot, right? They seem to be placating to a guy that only has maybe 2 to 3 years left, and I think he's still going to be top 15 in the league. It's LeBron James, right? But this is to make him feel better about coming back to LA, even though he's going to opt out of his contract now to hopefully give more money for the Lakers to go after somebody else and come back. But it just looks like first time head coach. This guy's never coached a pickup basketball game in JJ Redick. Now telling the media, we drafted Bronny for his ability. No, that's not what you say. What you should say is, out of all the players available, we believe that with what we currently have, Bronny will excel better in LA than anywhere else. Because we have a guy on this team that won't let him fail.
Right.
He won't.
Right. Yeah. But also too, it's just like I think, and that's perfectly said. I think that honestly, regardless of what was said in the press conferences, there was always going to be people that was going to antagonize and not believe it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then that's what happened. Right. I seen a little bit of the clips earlier. It was like, lying just runs in the family. It's just like, it's just like it's like the the amount of like just the disrespect, the hate. And once again, we hated LeBron because we did something on the court. Like when he's off the court, whatever, I'm fine with it. But we just hated for how if he was playing against the Celtics.
I also think though, until we were like 17 or 18, right? Probably 18, we hated LeBron because we were told to. Because he was anointed the next MJ without proving a damn thing in the NBA. Everyone was doing this for like, he's not MJ, and like that just continued to build and build and build. And now a majority of basketball fans cast shame and doubt on the guy that went to 9 out of 10 NBA finals and won 4 of them.
Yep. But even, I mean, and even though I have poked my fun at him after this moment I'm about to bring up, but there wasn't really any doubt in my mind about the player he was going to become after that Detroit series, so before LeBron James. I was like, you scored 25 straight in the conference finals against that great Detroit team. I said it's just a matter of time. He's going to win a few of them. It's just a matter of can you get there, and are your other players going to show up? And obviously, once he got better talent around him, he ended up winning. So he was the system. He was.
Right.
So that's the biggest credit to his career. To say that about him. But yeah, I don't know. I just think, to me, there's been a lot of think pieces about what is going on. Once again, I would respect a lot of y'all kept it to basketball, but y'all haven't. Y'all cried about how it was unfair. You cried about how a bunch of other things. But I'm just like, once again, if you spoke to his talents and he's not that good, he shouldn't be drafted in. Cool, fine. But it hasn't been y'all stance. A lot of y'all stances. So now I'm actively rooting for him to go off now, because to me, and once again, and granted, my situation is nowhere near what Bronny's is, but as someone who is the son of a leader in this city, in Boston, you get looked at differently when opportunities happen, because you're like, oh, why is so getting this, and why are they getting that, and why is it so? And it's just like, it's a part of it. And once again, you don't always want it or think that you deserve it, but something just happened, yes, because of who your parents are, and something that happened for me because of who my mother is in the city. Yes, by far,
Right.
absolutely. And I will not apologize for that. Like, I won't, like, because even when I'm sitting here right now, this apartment was helped because of it. So I'm fine with receiving the help. I am. And once again, when this podcast becomes what we know it's going to be, and when we all have our children, you damn right. If we can pass it down to them and they can benefit off us, you damn right I'm doing it. Care about who's been working for 20 years, and you think I'm not gonna help with my son or daughter, or your son or daughter, or what, or DK? Are you crazy? What? I'm absolutely. Y'all would be first in fucking line. Yep. I said it. So you hear me? I'm defending. What? Leave no doubt, right? Leave no doubt. When we all have children, and this Mission Applied Junior Edition, you think I'm not putting them on? Are you crazy? I'm absolutely putting them on. Well, they didn't do what you did, Rayshawn. They didn't do what you did, Mike. They didn't do what you did, Craig. Who cares? They saw the blueprint. Now they're about to take over, and they're going to dominate too. So that's how I see it. Yep. I don't have to be fair. We're just gonna make it happen. So that's how I see it. So leave no.
Can't follow that. You can take the show back now.
Yeah. So let's get into. Well, actually, before we get into free agency, we skip past this, because we talked about the Celtics draft. We talked about them bringing back the pieces. So Tillman got re-signed, Tatum got re-signed, or not re-signed, he got extended. But Tillman got re-signed, Cornette, Tillman, D. White also got his extension as well. But that became a footnote to what we found out, and I was like, wow. So after the 22 years of majority ownership, Wyc Grousbeck, who by far has become the best owner in the city, he chose, or he's making the choice to sell his stake in the team. So just what I know my thoughts. What were your thoughts as that unfolded? Because I thought it was a joke, but just what
Me too.
What was your thoughts as that news broke yesterday?
Yeah, I honestly couldn't believe it. It was not what I was expecting. I think I would have expected every ownership team in Boston to come across that alert from ESPN before Wyc. And that has a lot to do with the way that Wyc has talked about the Celtics over the last not just couple of weeks, with his appearance on Paul Pierce's podcast, which, by the way, I do think Paul Pierce has insider information, because what would lead him to ask flat out if he's going to sell it, and force Wyc to deny that it's not for sale, right? But Wyc's been talking about, we don't think about money, we get paid in banners, and I believed him. I'm talking to you as a fan now, right? As a fan, you always want what we had out of Wyc and this ownership team. 22 years as an owner, 19 seasons as in the playoffs, 4 finals appearances, 2 championships.
Yes.
Like you are a perennial contender, and since 2007, they have spent money to get better. And even when it was hard, even after KG and Paul and Ray and all of them left, they made it so that they put a compelling basketball team on the court, and they did. And this team, Celtic fans have come back alive under this ownership. I think between the last hurrah of Larry Bird and the Celtics in like '88, all the way up until 2002, when Wyc bought it, there was some lulls. I mean, there were only like there was only like 1 or 2 bright spots, and that was probably the Antoine Walker and Paul Pierce, Walter McCarty Celtics. Other than that, I mean, it was dry. But from a business perspective, DK said it in the chat. He's right. You buy the team for $380 million in 2002. You're going to sell it for $6 billion in 2024. Do it. Sell it. I mean, as a business owner, you have to do it, especially because
that's oh god, I know.
You would feel a lot better or a lot differently, I think, if he spoke about the Celtics the way that John Henry speaks about the Red Sox. You wouldn't be upset about this, even if the in-game stuff were the same. We treat this as an asset. That's it.
Right, but okay. This season to me is equivalent to when the Red Sox went 104, 108 and 54, right? I would have been annoyed if John Henry came out and said that 2 weeks after. I would have, because but what do you mean? What, we just had the best season that this league has seen in a while. What
after saying that he wasn't going to sell and then selling.
Right. It's just like, it's just like, what? Like what is going on? So yeah, I would have felt that way after that, or even like after, like even with Kraft too, like say after the Atlanta Super Bowl. Oh, it's like what like that's we're on such a high right now. No, like once again, you just got back, you just got the city back. It's you got the keys to the car. You got it, bro. Like you're number one. Like, and
that's what you sell.
Yeah, my thing is, think about what more you could get if you go back to back. Think about that. You go back to back, you get even more.
Well, but I think, and I don't know this,
or it's just not their own possibility. Or I'm going real big picture thinking here. You fuck around and you three-peat. Oh my, you fuck around and three-peat. Could you imagine? I'm just saying. Because to me, I get it. Maybe it was all about Ben 18. He was like, I'm cool, but I'm like, to get 19 to 20. I think to me, I don't know. To me would
listen.
I would cement it even further, in my opinion.
I'm 100% with you on that. But he must now. I'm mad about the way in which he went about talking about the team before he sold it or put up for sale.
Right.
But with all the money that they're spending, with the tax ramifications coming, getting more like bigger and bigger, maybe he knows about local TV market deals that aren't doing as well as they were before. The NBA really hasn't figured out streaming platforms like the NFL has. Maybe he thinks there's going to be a strike. So, aside from, we all know that he has just made a decision, and so has Brad, to put this team in a position where they're probably going to be contending for the next 4 years. Right. And you also have an opportunity to win, hopefully 3 in a row, but let's just call it another 2 in the next 5. I think that they can do that without knowing what the landscape of the actual league from an economic perspective is going to look like in terms of TV rights deals, in terms of everything else. If you can get 10, 20 times your investment or return on investment for a team, I think you do it. I think you have to do it.
Yeah. I mean, then again, this, once again, everyone knows that, you and I are wrestling fans, but could you imagine if Pagliuca came out, it was just like, it was me all along? But it was him. It was me all along, Wick. And he. But my thing is, and I heard it earlier on 985, and I thought this was true. I was spot on. It was like, yo, if Pellucci looks to be a part of the group that puts in the bid, and it's like, yo, you had to come in as a partner 20 years ago. Now
Yep.
you got the money to do, like, how does that work, bro? Like, so it's just, to me, I just hope that someone comes in that has like a Steve Ballmer type mindset and just says, all right, balls to the wall, we spend it whatever.
Yeah.
Because this is too important of a franchise in the NBA to go back to purgatory after this run.
I'm not as pessimistic about the aftermath of this, because I think if Pellucci wants to stay, he's going to have more money to invest into the Celtics just because of his initial investment anyway, and now what they're worth. So he can have more of a stake. It also raises the question and promotes the ability. Maybe Wyc was sick of paying rent to Jeremy Jacobs, and now maybe an ownership group comes in and actually wants to build their own Celtics arena.
So they brought that up earlier too. I would love to. Hello and welcome to the Encore Arena.
Oh God.
Well, one, because I want to play some blackjack over there, so I would love for that to be over there. It'd be great.
That's $50 minimum. So good luck.
Okay, I might. We can talk about it off the air, but I love blackjack, so that's a quick way to get me involved or intrigued right away. And once again, it's right off, the orange line. Like, you still have to find something that would be accessible for most fans. Like, you're not going to put it in Marlboro or in Reading. You're not going to do something like that. So yeah, it needs to be somewhere where a lot of land.
Put it in the seaport.
Yeah, that too. I mean, parking would be ridiculous. It's already bad enough over there, but sure, why not? But yeah, I would love for them to go the route that the Clippers are going and having a new arena. That'd be great. Once again, we're still 5 or 6 years out from that, anyways. But I would love to see, I would love to see that happen, because they. Do
you know that there hasn't been a new stadium built in Boston, not around Boston, but in Boston, since the actual Boston Garden in 1928?
Crazy.
I mean,
yeah, and once again, because now that I've been to Wells Fargo, which is a Philly. I've been to the Kaseya Center, which is in Miami. And the world stuff I've been to. Been to Barclays Center.
Barclays is the best. It's not close.
Yeah, Barclays is nice. Well, Wells Fargo is very nice too. I was there for WrestleMania, but even the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans is decent too. I went there for 34, but man, it's TD Garden compared to those buildings is once again, our fan atmosphere and how we cheer for their team. There's nothing like it. When that building is rocking, it's unreal. But just the aesthetics of the building, it's not there. Once again, Legends is cool. Yes, I know I worked there, but Legends is cool. Putnam is cool. The 1928 Club is cool, but it's just like, compared to other arenas.
And what they built around it is awesome now. Like, that's a whole area, the whole scene. I love it. But they've also put themselves in a box where they cannot really make any big additions to that arena. They can't build out around it. They can't add any occupancy. They've already tried, and now if you sit anywhere besides Loge, it's like being at Fenway. Like, if you're me, who's 6'6", a short 6'6", you can't sit. Like, you just can't fucking sit down. Yep. And I was in the rafters of Barclays for Springsteen, and I had about 4 inches of legroom. It was like JetBlue for me. Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is what it should be like, and it's a bigger capacity, but they can't do things like that. And I do think, not to go on a whole rant, but new ownership group that doesn't want to pay Jeremy Jacobs rent. That's intriguing to me.
Very.
That is.
Yeah. And once again, also too, when you're looking to get other free agents in the future, or even just keep who's on your team now, and I'm there, so I can speak on this because I've seen it. There's a difference between the Celtics locker room and the Bruins locker room. Huge difference. Huge. And
Well,
once
the
again,
Bruins have a harder
oh,
and lower cap, obviously.
no, right, but I'm like, I, I, I hope. Well, I shouldn't say this out loud, but I hope maybe next time I'm back there, I'll try to think if I get a couple of pictures, I'll send it because it's way different. You know, it's even the visitor locker room is like trash. Like it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. So it's just like they have to get better with that. Once again, Bruins locker room is really nice, real nice. You know, you come in, there's like pictures, got the trophies up there, like it's just dope. You know, Celtics should have a bunch of Gatorades. So, no, what up, Skip? Shout out to Skip. What up, Skip? But yeah, so it's just like it's compared to other arenas, like you know, they have to get better. Once again, this has been around what's it, 95 now? 95 the Free Center.
Yep.
Once again, they tried to, you know, make some things, but also
Yeah, it looks cool in there. Like Raptors is banners is cool outside, Raptors inside, all that shit is great. But they've added over the last 4 years an additional 2,000 seats, and if you don't sit in the loge, you can feel it, but you know it. But
yeah.
it doesn't. You like you can't sit down. I mean, I'm sorry to say that again, but like you can't.
Yeah.
And the newer arenas are just. Now, this arena is only 29 years old, right? So whatever. And I also don't count the fact that I don't count this as a new arena because it was literally built in the parking lot of the old Boston Garden. So they haven't built a whole new structure in a whole new area in Boston since I want to say 1928 still, right?
Yeah.
You just need to have better seating.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you have 20,000 people in there. If you make it sound like you have 20,000 people in there and you only have 16, who the fuck cares?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Once again, even like I said, I was in the balcony at Wells Fargo, and like I said, I had space in there. I had space in Wells Fargo.
And that place
So,
is like, that place
so
is, I think it's only 18 months or 2 years newer, right?
yeah, but I'm like,
That used to be the first Union Center in
though,
Philly.
how it is out there in Philly, it's so you have, and this is for those that's watching on YouTube, but you know, so sorry for those that are listening to it on the audio, but it's like you got it's you know the Wells Fargo was like here, then like 100 feet you got Citizens Bank Park, which well it may not be that called anymore, but that's where Phillies play, and then right behind that you got Lincoln Financial, so they have all that space there, and it's like you're not running into anything different. And it's just like once again, it's like from you don't feel like anyone's on top of you.
Right.
Even at Lincoln Financial, like yeah, it's open ended, but it's just like, you know, unless you're sitting way up, that's where you feel cramped. But other than that, like I didn't feel like I felt like I could breathe in, you know, that stadium. So that to me that matters. So
Yeah.
but like you said, the entry from there that's accurate. I hope that they figure that out. So whether it's for Pagliuca, whether it's you know someone that's part of the win group, but once again, I want to be clear, and you know, we said this in the chat, people said online, it can absolutely be it can absolutely not go to Fenway Sports Group. If it does, I'm out. Like I can't. Like I would start rooting for the team. I can't. I cannot do a John Henry led ownership team.
I mean, John Henry likes to get 4 championships in 20 years. So,
well, this team can get a 3-peat if possible. So
imagine he buys them and then they win 3 in a row, or they win 2 more in a row.
that you know what's funny that probably would change his
Of course it would. He would match Kraft for bringing 6 titles to Boston.
Yeah. So, but either way, I can't. I can't accept him being at the.
Who would you rather, Jeremy Jacobs or John Henry?
Can I do it? Is there a C option?
No, it's only those two. Just those two. Because you're gonna say John Henry, and you don't want to.
Yeah. It's Robert Kraft.
You don't even mean that.
I don't right now because he pisses me the fuck off. So yeah, I'm gonna say something crazy about him too, but I'm gonna relax.
Don't do
All right,
that.
but yeah, I'm
Don't
not.
do
Yeah,
that.
I want to keep this train going. All right, so NBA free agency. As we mentioned at the beginning, it's been a frenzy. It always is a frenzy. If there's anything the NBA always gets right every year, it is free agency. Once again, if they can get the free agency period to match the draft and other things they do throughout the year, they'd be on par with a lot of other major sports. In my opinion, they just have to try to get there. So, just some of the notable signings: Paul George to Philadelphia, 4 years, $212 million. Donovan Mitchell, 3 years, $150 million extension. Klay Thompson to Dallas, 3 years, $50 million. Chris Paul San Antonio, 1 year, $11 million. KCP, your guy, KCP, to Orlando, 3 years, $66 million. With that third year being a player option. Isaiah Hartenstein, 3 years, $87 million to Oklahoma City. Scotty Barnes and Kate Cunningham both got their rookie extensions, so that was 5 years, $226 million. And then Tyrese Maxey got a 5 year, $204 million extension from Philly. So there's other signs that happened, but those are just some of the bigger ones that they're. So just thoughts on those. What was the biggest surprise, to you? And then so we can get into, just who do we think has won the offseason so far and potentially be the biggest threat to the Celtics?
Well, I thought that the biggest surprise for me was Klay to Dallas. I think had we not all been watching ABC's NBA final coverage and we didn't see Joel Embiid kind of nudge and look at Paul George saying he wanted him to go, then we would have been surprised by that move. But like Klay to Dallas had a great season, right? All that. But one of the things that hindered them against teams like Boston is that they couldn't outshoot us.
Yeah.
Klay now gives him the ability to do that.
Right.
If he's right, I mean, he's probably gonna take like 500 and something threes this year, and he's gonna make 220 of them. And they didn't have that last year.
Right.
So Klay, a 4-time champion, Kyrie, a champion. Now with Luka and that and those two bigs, I think like that's a very, very formidable team, especially with, oh God, who did you say who left Denver?
Oh, KCP.
Yeah. So like Denver's not getting stronger, right? And they're showing us that they're not.
They lost him and Reggie Jackson.
Right. So I think Dallas is still like, they look like a pretty big front runner in the West right now. And Paul George to Philly, I mean, now that's a big three. It is. I mean, Embiid, George, and Maxey. Maxey is a Celtic killer. He has been for the last 2 or 3 years. If Embiid can stay healthy, big if.
Right.
And Paul George can just string a couple
years. Stay healthy too.
Right. String a couple of good years together. That's a team that may actually break through that little glass ceiling that they have there in Philly and make it to an Eastern Conference final. So I think that Dallas is still the biggest threat to the Celtics. I think it's wild that Hartenstein makes more than Jalen Brunson. Like, I think it's fucking wild.
But I just, and once again, I get why OKC went all in to get that. I felt like they thought that they were like a big away from, competing a little bit more. So I get that. 87 mil is insane. If it was like 3 years, 54 million, I'd be like, okay, that seems about right. But paying almost $30 million for a guy that, once again, is going to play well. I don't want to, I wanted him here in Boston, but that's no point. But I'm like, wow. Once again, shout out to the agent. The agent got him the money, but I'm like, wow, bro. My dad, I was like 87 mil. When I saw that, I was like, woof. I had tweeted my friend that works for SNY in New York. I was like, yo, I'm like, that's insane. Insane that
I mean, that's funny money.
Yeah, it's a joke. Yeah, it's real funny. It's a big joke. Big joke. He got $87 million. But even let's keep it with the Knicks. The Villanova reunion is now complete. I think they, for sure, whether it's on paper, we would say on paper or not, I think that they're the biggest threat to Boston in the East.
Well, sure, unless Thibodeau runs him into the fucking ground again.
Well, I mean, the thing about Mikal Bridges, he's like Tatum. He's an Iron Man. He does not miss games. So they needed that badly, and he defends well. He gets 19 tonight. I don't know if he's going to get that in New York because the ball has there's only one basketball. But I think that you can move Hart to the bench completely. You don't have to play him as many minutes as you were playing him until the playoffs. And yeah, I think, but yeah, on paper, I don't know what they do with Randall. I'm assuming maybe they don't move off him now, but yeah, they on paper for sure. To me, they jump fraud, early fraud. Miami, I'm not Miami.
Philly?
No, not
Milwaukee.
Philly, Milwaukee as well. Milwaukee, they leapfrogged them.
Are you surprised that Dame's still in Milwaukee?
Yes, yeah. I thought that he would say, "Hey, we tried it for a year, it didn't work." But also, I think too, this era, they look at what's the word? They look at their legacy a little bit more. So I feel like Dame knew how soft it would look if he came out after a year and it didn't work and they lost in the first round to say, get me out of here. Which is why I think Donovan Mitchell ended up staying too. Yes, it was part of it was because of the money, but it's like you can't get to the second round in Cleveland. You've been given the keys to that franchise. Why would you not stay? And once again, it wasn't the better scenario. Why would you leave?
Yep.
Get the money.
Quick question though.
What?
Is Doc still the coach of the Bucks?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh well, they ain't beating Boston next year. I can say that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Chris Middleton saved Doc Rivers in that game 5 against Indiana because obviously, we knew they were going to lose the series, but like you couldn't lose a 5.
Right.
Chris Middleton went ballistic in game 5.
Yeah.
And he saved Doc Rivers' job for another year. He did. They won't say it out loud, but they come on, like it's well known. Like he saved him for another year in that regard. And also, you have to save your face, right? He can't be on the hook right after you let go Adrian Griffin 40 games in. So he had to get another year at least, and then obviously if it doesn't work, then they can let him go. But it's once again the best, the most secure position in the NBA is to be a coach and get fired because you have to get paid for this. Monty Williams shouldn't he shouldn't have to worry about head coaching again. That man's getting $60 million in the next 5 years, regardless.
Yeah.
What just he go coach him, come prepare to be the assistant because I think he's a heck of a coach. I just think that he's been given a raw deal in certain scenarios, but I think he can coach. So I think come here as an assistant. Get your break, and we want to pay you, and you continue to get your money from Detroit and Phoenix. So I'm grateful for that, but want to get back into Philly too. I know we're talking about New York. Philly fans, you should be excited. Once again, the offseason is full of optimism.
Oh boy, here comes a swerve.
It's just like Paul George as a talent is top 10 when he's on. I can't sit here and speak to City with Embiid, but obviously the back and forth that goes on between Boston and Philly fans, and I say this every year, but it's relevant to this conversation, so I'm going to say it again. It has been 41 years since you've hoisted the Larry O'Brien Trophy. My mom had an afro. My father had an afro. Both of my grandmothers were living. Crack had not hit the Black community as hard yet. There's a lot of things going on before you guys won. And a lot of you maybe are smoking dope now to think that you guys are going to win and beat Boston now. So, yeah, was that a wild scenario? Sure. Or a wild analogy? Sure. But it's not an opinion. It's a fact.
Well, hold on. A few of those are opinions before we get ourselves in trouble.
Well, once again, I would love him to say which one is. Once again,
No.
Wait, fact. My mom had a lot of hair. Fact. My dad had a lot of hair. Fact. The other one, we can say opinion, but once again, if we want to get political, we know what happened in the community. But like I said, we'll leave it at that. But once again, 41 years is 41 years, and I just don't see why it'd be any different now. Once again, you guys have had great teams. It's not like it's been, complete purgatory. But whether it's been Dr. J, whether it's been Charles Barkley, whether it was the AI era.
Yeah, but AI and who?
Right. Well, I mean, to the casual fan, nobody. Right. But that team that lost in the finals had the MVP. They had the MVP. They had the Sixth Man of the Year. They had Defensive Player of the Year. They just ran into the best duo of the era. So, but once again, and that because I know who I'm on the air with, if we had all that on this particular team, the MVP, the Sixth Man, the Defensive Player of the Year, and we've had all that recently, just in different years. We have it all at the same time. They had it all at the same time, and lost. Oh. You wouldn't have lived it down. You would not have let it down.
I don't know. If you lose to Shaq and Kobe, it's different.
Right, correct. So, that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, listen, but I say if healthy, they should be very good. But like I said, just to me, death taxes and the Celtics being Philly is just a way of life. And it just hasn't mattered. Like it has not mattered. So I want to be prepared, when we do a show in December or in January when they play. And people get hyped because the Philadelphia won 110 to 105 in a regular season game. Great. You thought I was nonchalant this year. I'm gonna be real nonchalant. So the playoffs going into this year. Next year, like I said, they don't win it there. We can get back to the anger the following year. But for this year, until we get to the playoffs, like not weird. Other sports are gonna piss me off up here, but I know what this team now looks like. Where I'm good. Any building, anytime, any place. Shout out to Jenna Jackson. Anytime, any place, we can get the job done. And now we've seen it. We can no longer say they can't get it done. We've seen it. So that goes out the window. Like I said, for this year, they get that mulligan, and then like I said, we can go back and kill them. If they don't win it next year. But for this season. Like I said, this season coming, they get that mulligan. So, and any other words on any other signings, or who else could be a threat in the East to Boston?
I was gonna say give my opinion, but I don't really think I could follow. I can follow that. I do think just be on the lookout for DeMar DeRozan to LA.
The Clippers or Lakers?
Lakers.
I mean that. Well, they wanted that a few years ago.
LeBron wants it now. That's why he opted out and he's restructuring.
But for a 35-year-old DeRozan, and once again, to me, and I'm only saying that because of the money that he would get in LA. I'm not saying because as a player, he's awesome, right?
Yeah, you just said you wanted him here.
I want him here. No, he's awesome. But I'm saying there's no way I would give him, 2 or 3 years at 70 mil, because that's what you might end up getting.
But you give him 2 at 50.
Yeah. So, but I've heard that Miami is looking at him too. And sorry, I thought I was gonna get this without doing this. Whatever is there, I got you now. Y'all have become, talk about Miami. Y'all have become the Philadelphia Eagles of the NBA. Every free agent y'all think is coming down there. Everybody. Y'all think every free agent is coming to Miami. Y'all thought Donovan Mitchell was coming. He resigned. Y'all thought, I'm trying to think who was, there's plenty of guys throughout the years recently that, once again, y'all got, and wait, the biggest free agent y'all got recently, you know why you got him? Because Daddy was on the coaching staff. That's why. So that was nepotism too. Damn. Would you look at that? Wow, a prior relationship working out in your favor. What do you know? But yeah, listen, Miami fans, hey, you got Kevin Love back, right?
I would have liked him here, by the way.
Yeah, I would have too. But you got Kevin Love back. You did resign Bam. I forgot to bring that up. You did resign Bam 3 years, $166 million. So He seems to be the next cornerstone guy there. Cool. You still got Jimmy Buckets, Jimmy G Buckets Island. Come get some, right? You know, because once again, y'all keep holding on to people's there, women over. I'm like, been the AFC or close to the AFC the last two or 3 years, you know. And when you guys were the 1 seed, the team, we went to the finals in your building. Once again, not an opinion, it's a fact. So y'all beat us in y'all building, we beat y'all in y'all building too. So I just don't get the I don't get the trolling that some of y'all do. Once again, Jimmy gets all this praise, and once again, once he gets there, he disappears the way y'all said Tatum disappeared too. But the difference is, this is now home where it resides. Ben 18 is now there. So you know, to me that's a perfect way to close that out. So he's Mike Marcangelo. I'm Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan. So next time we'll see you. Peace.
For those of you who dream of a world where music and podcasts live together in perfect harmony, now for the first time, Electricast gives you a magical compilation, Pod Till You Drop, Volume 1, where we give you the best in tunes and the best in podcasts. Feast your ears and hear the culture. Available now wherever you listen to music.
Electricast.